Tom Waits is something else. In 1973, he created his first album Closing Time, which mostly focused on melancholic music, with the main focus on the piano. But besides the music, Waits is also an incredible actor, starring in movies such as The Ballad of Buster Scruggs or Down by Law. Tom Waits has always felt connected to art, and somehow he has been able to cross the bridge between motion picture and music, creating not only an album, but also a story. And for him it all starts with the album cover. Tom Waits created plenty of opportunities to observe the human condition. Drawing influence from Jack Kerouac and Charles Bukowski, Waits lived outside the mainstream and gravitates to the abnormal and sometimes ugly behavior of society. His songwriting therefore also reflects the down and outs, losers or drunkards from the street, but to understand the music, you first have to understand the cover, which are little movies in themselves. The Heart of Saturday Night's cover art is based on In the Wee Small Hours by Frank Sinatra. The illustration is pretty obvious, showing a tired Tom Waits leaving a neon-lit cocktail lounge at night, when he meets a young, attractive woman on a curb. Just like the title and Waits' interest within songwriting, it's a Saturday night, the drunken crowd, the with smoke-filled air and the sexual nature and tension of such a night. The cover is a perfect visualization of how the music makes you feel. With Nighthawks at the Diner, the title was inspired by Edward Hopper's 1942 painting Nighthawks. The album was recorded as a live album, which would simulate the sound of a performance in a small club. The cover seems to pay a homage to Hopper's painting, using a similar range of colors, especially red. In the cover, Waits stares out a diner window. He is sitting at a fully occupied table with 3 other individuals who are engaged in a conversation. Everyone in the cover feels at ease while Waits distances himself from the noise inside. Barely noticeable lies a man outside on the street, probably puking out his gut or homeless. All of life is in motion in this cover, everyone having their own story, and while the viewer, you, passes by, Tom Waits' stoic gaze breaking the fourth wall sees you and he wants you to see him. The album takes you on a ride in what could be described as an American city at night. You're feeling tired, cold and drunk trying to return home, and that's what the album's cover is trying to convey. Tom Waits tells a tale of the ordinary man in blue Valentine. With the use of a bluesy tone and a sobering look, the songs portray what the album cover visualizes. If we take in my opinion the best song from the album, Christmas Card from a Hooker in Minneapolis, and look at its story, it's a sweet dance of wordplay while it's a rather sad song. The front cover might be as important as the back cover on this one. In the literal sense, Tom Waits portrays himself as the depressed lover. It's a reason why he is alone on the front cover and as a Valentine on the back. For me it also looks as if it is the same location. When he is inside this shack he is alone and sad, but if he's outside he creates this different face. And there's a kind of grunge or underground feeling about these photographs, and I think it's because of the colors that the photographer used. Swordfishtrombones was a musical challenge for Tom Waits, the first album to be produced by himself. He stylistically changed his music style, and for the average Joe it might be a hard album to listen to. And the same can be said for the cover art. Wearing a white undershirt, suspenders and black and golden gloves, Waits demands the attention of the viewer. The cover's picture has been taken by Michael A. Russ, a photographer picked by Tom Waits himself because of an exhibition he has been to. His approach to photography is with the eyes of a painter working with light. He displays a unique talent in both style and content. Michael is an individual with both a vision and an ability to execute it. Something that also can be noted is that Tom Waits wanted somewhat odd looking characters on the cover. He ended up posing next to Lee Kolema and Angelo Rosito. The black, white and gold color theme is spread across items and clothing, and the picture might be as abstract and experimental as the music itself. If you look at Rain Dogs, it's an homage to Elvis Presley's debut album, as well as London Calling from The Clash. The album picture was taken from Café Lehmitz in Hamburg. It was an establishment that was frequented by cab drivers, prostitutes and a mix of other patrons. The café was a place that would fit Tom Waits' persona. According to a 1985 interview, Tom's metaphor for Rain Dogs are human beings that are lost, in pain with no sense of direction. People that sleep in doorways or who don't have a social or physical place to belong. And this matches perfectly with the photograph and the story behind it. You just have to know you're looking at the underside of German society. We wanted Orphans to be like a shortwave radio show where the past is sequenced with the future, consisting of things you find on the ground, in this world and no world, or maybe the next world, whatever you imagine that to be. Orphans depicts Waits' mysterious side. The album is filled with previously unreleased songs. It's an album filled with the ghosts of his past, a past in whatever world that may be. We're looking at a very dark, creepy basement where Tom Waits is standing center frame. There's only one single vector leading the eye to Waits, and it's from one of the characters in the background looking directly at Waits. The lack of attention to Waits makes him stand alone. This, combined with every expression, which is all but happy, gives the cover a haunting look. It's shot in sepia coloring, which gives this brownish tint. The choice to make it sepia gives the cover this old and nostalgic look, even though it is set in a modern setting. The rest of the cover is filled with a guitar, an amp and horns, several instruments that Tom Waits likes to use. And this is just a small story about Tom Waits. The man can create music that is just something else, something that I might call art rather than music. And the album covers are like the trailers, the single slide of film that can tell it all.